Today on KUJH News, a rise in tuition coming for KU students, why one campus group is against the increase, tickets are on sale for the big dance, just how much it will cost to see Kansas play in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and the latest on Kansas legislation coming up. KUJH News starts now.
From the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Welcome to KUJH News. I'm Alex McClune. Last week we told you the story of the Redo Your U campaign advocating for renovations to the student union. While updating the union is one thing, finding someone to pay for it is another problem. The referendum on April's election ballot asks for a $50 increase to each student's tuition each semester through 2048. The increase would go toward union studying, dining, and community spaces. One group at KU is not buying into the idea that the increase is worth it.
We think that with the current situation at the University of Kansas and in the state of Kansas, we think adding $100 to possibly $125 a year could possibly price out a number of students who would want to be attending the University of Kansas.
So, $50 a semester is just outrageous. I mean, that's $30 more, and it's not even for a brand new building, it's just for renovations.
There are plenty of students who haven't even been born yet who are going to be paying for the referendum if it passes.
The referendum for students is on the KU election ballot, which will be open on April 12th and 13th. As for the rest of Kansas, state lawmakers continue to focus on closing budget gaps and writing a new school funding formula. But now lawmakers are attacking these two issues separately. Senate leaders are taking a two-step process by first balancing the Kansas budget and then focusing on a new school funding formula. Senator Marci says it may be clear for the Senate when it looks at specific issues if the two budgets are separate. One issue Francisco mentioned, property tax, which has been used for schools, would be easier to look at when looking at budget for schools. Francisco says she thinks the state and school budgets can be looked at together or separately. Either way, she'll be ready to deal with both when they hit the Senate floor. While state lawmakers have been working on state and school budgets, Medicaid has also been a topic of discussion. Lauren Davidson has more.
Last month, the House of Representatives passed a bill that could expand KanCare, Kansas's Medicaid program. Senate still needs to pass the bill and is set to begin hearing both proponents and opponents on this bill starting early next week. The bill under consideration would expand KanCare eligibility to more than 300,000 low-income Kansans, those earning up to $16,000 a year. The main debate over expansion is the expected cost to expand the program, estimated at $108 million in the first 2 years, versus the funds lost over the last 3 years due to the block on the expansion at $1.7 billion. A Medicaid expansion bill has never been voted on by Senate. Many senators are hopeful they have a chance to vote on this bill in the near future. Reporting from the newsroom, Lauren Davidson.
Governor Sam Brownback has been one of the main opponents against the expansion, but may not be a part of the ultimate decision. Recent reports tied Brownback to possible future jobs in the Trump administration. As for the other madness in March, the NCAA tournament is tipping off later this week. KU students have the opportunity to enter the ticket lottery until 5 p.m. for the Jayhawks' first weekend in Tulsa. Students have the opportunity to see the #1 seed in the Midwest start their journey to the Final Four in Phoenix. KU is listing the number of tickets left for the weekend as extremely limited, receiving around 450 tickets. Price of tickets for students stand at $66 or $100 depending on the seats in the venues. Compared to popular ticket resale websites, tickets range from $68 to $325. KU Athletics Public Affairs Director Jim Marcioni expects to sell out every round of tickets the university receives, especially if KU advances to the second weekend of the tournament in Kansas City. The Lawrence Police Department ended 3 investigations that took place at the Kappa Sigma fraternity in 2014. No criminal charges were the result. In December 2014, Kappa Sigma was put on a 2-year probation for violating the university's student, making the organization the first that KU has disciplined for sexual misconduct. Well, coming up on KUJH News, President Donald Trump has until the end of the day to provide evidence of his wiretap accusations against Barack Obama. And we'll hear from some friendly faces about their experience at last week's Big 12 championship in Kansas City. We'll be right back.
We connected so fast when we first met. I think that our relationship will last for a lifetime.
Being a role model for someone, being there for someone, there's nothing I can compare it to. She has uncles up in Minnesota that treat me like I'm their own now.
I feel like she's actually my big sister in a way.
It's been one of the best decisions I think I've ever made.
You're doing great. We're gonna try this again, okay?
Okay.
Wheels, pedals, handlebar, brakes. Sit up straight, keep your weight in the center, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the grips, button the seat. If we feel ourselves falling, what do?
Just keep pedaling.
Good girl. Now remember, it's all about balance and steering. Steer with your hands, steer with your body. Steer into the corners and you stay out of trouble. And the bell's your buddy, so go ahead and ding that. All right, you ready? Here we go. Pedal, honey, pedal. There you go, you're a bike rider.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
After President Donald Trump accused Barack Obama of wiretapping via Twitter, the FBI jumped in asking Trump to provide evidence by the end of today. So far, no evidence supports Trump's claims. White House Secretary Sean Spicer explains the term wiretap means broad surveillance.
He doesn't really think that President Obama went up and tapped his phone personally. I think, but I think there's no question that the Obama administration, that there were actions about surveillance and other activities that occurred in the 2016 election. That is a widely reported activity that occurred back then. The president used the word wiretap in quotes to mean broadly surveillance and other activities during that.
Obama denied allegations through a spokesman, and his former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, also publicly refuted the claims. The GOP is discrediting the agency reviewing its proposed health care bill. The Congressional Budget Office is a nonpartisan agency set to release a report on the proposed bill, detailing how much it will cost and how many millions of people could lose health care coverage. Healthcare analysts are expecting the report to project millions of people who gained insurance under the Affordable Care Act will lose it under the GOP plan. The GOP has been attacking the legitimacy of the CBO in anticipation of an unfavorable review. Taking a look outside, chilly and cloudy conditions in Lawrence this morning. Jacob Asherman is here with a look at our week. Jacob, any chance of warmer temperatures when we head out for spring break?
Yeah, Alex, quick answer to that question is yes, those warmer temperatures are going to make our way into our area just in time for spring break. But not before we're going to have to wait at least a couple more days and endure this winter weather that's been made its way into our area. Starting with today, 37 degrees. It was a bit of a shock this morning. We've been so spoiled over the last month or so. Our temperatures have been well above average. Well, this cold weather had to make its way into our area sometime, and it finally has been. Almost 20 degrees below average. You can see we did see a little bit of rain. We actually had some reports of freezing drizzle this morning, showing just how cold it got. And while we're outside, we are hitting our high, 37 degrees. It's a chilly one out there, especially when you factor in that strong northwest wind, 20 miles an hour, gusting to 30. It's been really windy up there on the hill today. So in reality, our temperatures are probably in the low to mid 20s. It's a chilly one, so make sure you bundle up if you have any plans. By tonight, things cool off even more, 27 degrees. That wind does die down, fortunately. Those clouds are going to stay in our area. And while I can't even rule out a few flurries possible for our area. Now, with any snow we do receive, I'm not expecting any sort of accumulation, but we might see a little dusting on the grass if any flurries do happen. Starting your day off tomorrow, 11 a.m., 29 degrees. It's going to be cloudy for the entire day before things slowly do begin to warm up. 33 degrees at 1 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, we are expecting to hit our high, 37 degrees, while our winds slowly do increase over time. Before things gradually do begin to warm up, you can see those flurry chances we have throughout our week. Tuesday, 38 degrees. Wednesday, things do gradually warm up, 40 degrees. Before Thursday, we start to see those warm temperatures just in time for spring break. Partly cloudy skies. For Friday, 66 degrees. It is going to be a gorgeous day. Certainly a gorgeous day for some Kansas basketball, guys.
All right, a sign of good things to come. Thanks, Jacob. Back to basketball. Although Kansas lost early in the Big 12 championship last week, there's a chance the Jayhawks could return to the Sprint Center for the Sweet 16. KUJH reporter Nicole Fye caught up with some fans who would love to see more basketball next weekend.
Family friendly isn't always the first word that comes to mind with college basketball.
But this year, the Big 12 experience is fun for the whole family, even centered in the heart of the Power and Light District.
It's just a cool experience to come and make memories here.
Kids got to take part in the college basketball experience, watch their teams play either inside or on the big screen inside P&L, and some even got to skip school.
My favorite thing so far is I'm going to get to go to the game. And it's really fun just staying at the hotel. And the car rides are really fun.
But the memory is even more special for Austin and his teammates who got to practice outside the Sprint Center. He and his friend Finn think their Jayhawks are going to win the national championship. Why?
They're so good.
But Jensen disagrees.
I think Baylor's going to win.
A weekend of fun for the young.
Sick 'em Bears.
And the old at heart.
Through this experience, the Big 12 might have just created the fans and some of the players of tomorrow. Nicole Fye reporting from Power and Light, KUJH.
All right, good stuff there. Well, last time we saw Kansas on the court, they lost to TCU in their opening round of the Big 12 tournament. And after hearing that they got the 1 seed in the Midwest region, they're looking ahead to a matchup in Tulsa.
Yeah, they didn't get enough games in the Sprint Center, I guess, so they could be back here in just a couple weeks. And coming up next in sports, after an early exit at the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City, the Jayhawks find themselves as the #1 seed in a region that may again have them playing at Sprint Center in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 rounds. We take a look at KU's road ahead next. Stay with us.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. The doctor stopped by and said, well, it is leukemia. And then the next thing she said without even missing a beat was, and here's what we're going to do. We are so blessed and lucky to say that she is extremely healthy. I could not be more grateful for groups like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It was that research that let that doctor say it's leukemia, and here's what we're going to do.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go along, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
The Kansas Jayhawks enjoy their streaks. Just a few weeks ago, Kansas secured a 13th straight conference title, and last night the team received a record 28th straight NCAA tournament bid. The Jayhawks are the #1 seed coming out of the Midwest region and are scheduled to play the winner of a play-in game to be held Wednesday night in Dayton, Ohio. While KU's opponent may still be in question, what the team does know is that they could enjoy 4 games played close to home.
You know, hopefully we got a lot of Kansas fans out in Tulsa, you know, cheering us on. And then the biggest thing about getting the seed that we got is being able to play in Kansas City.
We're obviously happy that we get to stay fairly regional.
with our travel, especially going down to Tulsa in the first weekend. And hopefully play well and win a 4-game tournament.
Kansas travels to Tulsa later this week to play the winner of North Carolina Central and UC Davis on Friday night. Cinderella stories are a reality of the NCAA tournament, underdogs catching higher seeds off guard and advancing into the tournament. Kansas head coach Bill Self is pleased with the way the bracket is aligned in the Midwest region.
One thing that I do think is good, not that it'll play out this way throughout the bracket if we're fortunate enough to advance, but what is immediately in front of us are Power 5 conference teams.
Looking beyond KU's 1-16 matchup on Friday night, Kansas could face a number of quality programs. If Kansas should advance, the Jayhawks are set to face Miami or Michigan State in the second round. Predictions become difficult when looking ahead, but Power 5 teams are favored to come out of Week 1 and head to subsequent rounds in Kansas City. Last season, Kansas advanced to the Elite 8 round before losing to the eventual national champion, Villanova. The Kansas baseball team picked up a second straight series win over the weekend. After splitting a doubleheader with Houston Baptist on Friday, the Jayhawks took a day off the diamond because of snowfall. On Sunday, Kansas experimented with a new starting pitcher, and sophomore righty Jackson Goddard did not disappoint. The Tulsa native threw 7 shutout innings while striking out 6 batters and walking none. Kansas takes the series after a 4-2 victory in Game 3. Up next, Kansas baseball plays a midweek game against Oral Roberts this Wednesday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, before opening conference play with a series against number 1 TCU. From one diamond to another, Kansas softball played its first games at home over the weekend and enjoyed multiple offensive showings at the plate. Kansas ran over Wisconsin Green Bay in a pair of games by scores of 12-0 and 14-2. On Sunday, Kansas met with the Iowa Hawkeyes and prevailed in 7 innings by a score of 6-2. Kansas softball was scheduled to play Iowa again today, but that game was canceled this morning due to cold weather and wet playing conditions. The Kansas tennis team was in action at Rock Chalk Park this weekend. Number 19 Kansas was set to go down to the wire with 6th-ranked Texas Tech. Jayhawks singles star Tess Bernard Fagenbaum enjoyed the best win of her career over 40th-ranked Felicity Maltby with a pair of 7-6 wins. The surprise victory was not enough as Texas Tech won 2 of 3 doubles matchups to win the meet 4-2. The ranked Kansas tennis team now travels to Denton, Texas to take on Columbia and North Texas. Cold day for Kansas athletics has some games canceled. Maybe a good day to take a nap.
Yeah, that's right. If the weather wasn't putting you to sleep, today may be the best way to celebrate just that. It's National Napping Day, and there's more to it than just taking a snooze. Nap Day falls just after daylight savings time, fitting since we lose an hour of sleep. According to a study by RAND Europe, sleep deprivation costs the world's economy $411 billion annually. In an attempt to combat this, some corporations like Google, Uber, and AOL have corporate-sanctioned nap rooms available for their employees. So in honor of the holiday, celebrate the right way and just set some time aside and catch up on some sleep.
Yeah, those guys look pretty happy sleeping on the couch there. I might join them here in a few minutes.
Yeah, we're not too far from spring break, so if you're not able to celebrate, not too far away from just kicking back at home. So that's all we have for you today. We'll see you back here on Wednesday.
From the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.